Welcome to DJ&P podcast. To my left is D, I'm J, and to my right is P. Today's episode is the bounce back. Before we start, let's toast up, fellas.
Episode 3.
D, you want to take away and explain to our viewers how this episode gonna go?
Absolutely, boys. Well, welcome everybody. Episode 3, like Jay said, the bounce back. So we just want to reach out first off and say thank you to everybody who DM'd us on Instagram and TikTok for cast ideas. And after speaking to some of you and going through your DMs, we decided that we were gonna do more of like a hot topic kind of cast where we took your ideas, put it in a fishbowl, so to speak, and we're just gonna pull from them and have a cast. See if we can go through what everybody's ideas are. You guys good with that?
Yeah, let's talk it out. Let's see what the viewers want.
All right, we'll start it off. Grab first, and let's talk about where we're at.
Some ice in there?
No ice. All right, so this is from Scott. Scott, good looking out on the DM. If you're going through a relationship or if you're going through a breakup, what tips can you use to help bounce back? And in these, he listed 7 things that he uses to go through a breakup. So we'll just talk about if you're going through a breakup, what are some tips to help you bounce back? Who wants to start us off? Or do you want to go through what he suggests?
What's number 1? What is?
Well, he's saying find an expressive outlet, like any traumatizing life event. Everything needs to be processed appropriately.
Yeah, everything needs to be processed, but the way I deal with my situation is I pretty much use the people around me, like my boys and my family, to just kind of like help pick me up a little bit. And the last situation I was into, I'm so grateful that I had good friends to kind of like pick me up and show me that like there's a bigger picture out there, a bigger solution. But I would say just talk it out with your friends, like, you know.
So I think everybody's gone through goods and bads in every single relationship. And I know, like, if we're talking specifically going through a breakup, like he's saying, like, what did we use? You're saying good company, good friends.
Yeah, good company, take your mind off the situation. Like, go back to your old self, keeping your old habits, making yourself happy, focusing on yourself. That is hitting up the gym, being around your friends, because when you're in a relationship, it's all about that person. You kind of like neglect your friends and family a little bit. So go back to that same roots, being around your friends, being with your family, spending time with them, and just enjoying yourself. Because when you go through a breakup, you need to focus on yourself and kind of like see where you went wrong, or even if you was wrong in a situation. So learn to love yourself again and learn to be alone. It's okay to be alone.
Well, I think the biggest thing that we're jumping first is how someone feels when they go through a breakup. You know what I mean? Like, it's always worse. It sucks, yeah.
It sucks.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, like, there's always going to be those different degrees everybody goes through, right? Like, you know, there's that anger part of it. There's depression part of it. I mean, like, I think it's important for us to go through it and just not just saying, like, okay, this is what you got to do, but like,
even that, like, you get into that what if, because for you to break up with someone, there had to be that point where there was an argument, there was a misunderstanding, or something that you guys didn't agree with.
No, but see, I disagree.
So you sit there and play in your head, like, what if I had to agree? What if we didn't argue? What if I had to explain myself better?
No, but I understand what you're saying, but I think you're individualizing as far as, like, we had to have an argument. I think some people just check out in a relationship, you know what I mean? I don't think every breakup is caused by, oh, we got into an argument. I think sometimes you can fall out of love with someone and what's once there is not there anymore, right? Yeah, I mean, I think you see where I'm going with. You're shaking your head. Yeah, I mean, you're nodding. So, I mean, I think you can piggyback off what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna obviously be different circumstances and everything, but yeah, like you said, I don't know if you just fall out of love or things change, you feel some type of way, then you you stay in a stagnant relationship and you let, I don't know, you kind of let what's going on bother you. It weighs on your head heavy, and then that's kind of what is being programmed into your head. So now you're just like feeling some type of way about this person all the time.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's true.
And it weighs on you, and then it's constant work. You got to constantly work at stuff.
I mean, if we're talking about bouncing back, right, I think you have to, like, you brought it up in the other podcast, the other episode, as far as like facing that person in the mirror. Remember you were saying like meeting that man in the mirror, or meeting that individual in the mirror.
I mean, stare at the man in the mirror.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good, because I think you go through the steps like we're talking about. Like, let's take it together, right? Mm-hmm. Who's felt depressed in a relationship through a breakup? Like, even if you're the one that's breaking up with someone, there's still going to be, I spent X amount of years with this person, or months. You're always going to have a certain type of thing. So you're going to be depressed.
The little thing about that person that had made you happy throughout the time. So
yeah, of course. I mean, you're always going to remember the good times too, and not just the bad times. But I think about, okay, so let me take it for example. Like, okay, I felt depressed. How did I deal with it? Well, I agree. Surrounding yourself with positive people, mm-hmm. and good company and all that. And he's saying, allow yourself to mourn. I mean, I think spending that time, you're saying to be alone. Well, what are you saying as far as like?
I say it's okay to be alone, because that's pretty much where your mind gonna start wandering. You're gonna start thinking, and that's the process of you mourning that loss or that person.
That's the best.
I think.
Sure.
Being alone.
Yeah, being alone is great.
I mean,
but sometimes, bro, it get lonely.
It's tough. I mean, like if you talk about depression and being alone, there's the goods and bads too. I mean, you ultimately have to be able to be alone.
Yeah, but
in order to go in the next relationship, you have to learn to be happy with yourself alone. Like, you can't just go relationship to relationship to relationship, because but from there you never have time to mourn. You're just always setting yourself up. You're relying on the next person to satisfy that gap, I guess, that hole that you have. And bouncing one to one is not the way to bounce back. You have to be okay with yourself first. I think that's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, you have to. You have to just learn to be you again. Learn to know who your true self is, and just take it day by day. It's gonna suck.
It's gonna suck. Go ahead, P.
There's a lot of people out there that honestly don't know how to be alone. They're so codependent. They rely on that other person to fulfill their happiness, and when that person isn't fulfilling their happiness, now they become depressed. You have to learn how to fulfill your own happiness. You need to go out there and do the things that you love, and continue to do the things that you love, and then when somebody comes into your life that complements that, that's when you know it's right.
That's a great short. That's gonna be a short, everybody. But that's gonna be great. But I mean, for me, like depression, some things I did to bounce back from depression. Stay away from the liquor.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Stay away from the liquor, the drugs, and all aspect. Some people say the radio music is something that helps them. For me, the music was the worst thing I could do, was listen to music. That's the worst thing I could do.
SZA Snooze, I can never listen to that again.
Yeah, we don't know who that is.
SZA, she's pretty good.
SZA what?
The artist's name is SZA, and the name of the song is Snooze. I can never listen to that song again because it triggers me.
SZA Snooze?
Yeah, SZA Snooze is not on my playlist, but
it better not be.
No, I mean, just
I'll rip the radio out.
I mean, to each his own. I don't know who drives that. To each his own, as far as like, if you listen to music and it helps you. For me personally, bouncing back from a breakup, music was something I had to stay away from, because it always brought me back to that song we liked, or that song we listened to, or like it brought me back to a memory, you know what I mean?
And that's Snooze by SZA. Hate that song.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so don't listen to that song if you're going through it. I think the other part is, once you get through that depression,
maybe that'll be the background music for this
one. Yeah, I don't know who's singing it. We're gonna figure it out though. You know, I think
I will quit this pod if you put that as the background.
You brought it up 4 times, so
it's just that like
you could just say as a whole a song.
No, listening to music, it's like, it sucks, bro. It sucks because it'll bring you back to that point where like you think like, oh yeah, I'm over it. I'm over the whole situation. I'm over the breakup, and then boom, that song comes on, and you be like,
and it brings you back.
See, but sometimes I feel like you need to do things like that, to sit in it and fight it and
process it, almost kind of thing.
Yeah, and just, I mean, that's kind of the way I do things. Like if there's a song that comes on that I don't like, that brings back memories, I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna sit in whatever emotions I'm sitting in, and then I'm gonna work towards not feeling that type of way anymore.
Let me ask you guys this: do you still listen to, or does a song come on the radio now, years later, from whatever relationship, and does anything click? Does it bring you back?
No.
You're lying.
No. Of course not. I was coming here and that so fucking came on the radio. I turned the radio off.
No, I know. It's like be careful with music is what we're saying, because I think that like years later that song would still come on and you're turning that dial real quick to say I'm not gonna listen, or you're hitting skip or something like that. Next song. So that depression part of it, we're saying it just, learn to be alone kind of thing with it, manage it through family, friends, and I think the other side of it is anger when you're going through a breakup. It could be either the person that's broken up with, or what's the word looking for, the person that's doing the breakup. But there's that anger aspect of it, and I think anger is scary because it can be managed in so many different ways, and I think we all kind of can have our own stories with that, right? How we managed it and stuff like that. Because I think the first inclination is when you get broken up with, you're depressed, you're asking those questions, why, what if, can I have done this differently? And then you
shoulda.
Yeah, you woulda, shoulda, coulda, and then that cycle goes through. Now I'm pissed, and
but
why?
But you only get pissed when you play every scenario in your head and you realize that you didn't do anything wrong, and you like, why? That's
what you're saying. Are you saying like, why did he or she break up with me?
Yeah, because if you sit there, right, you mourning, you dealing with your whole situation, and you kind of like put everything out there. You look at the man in the mirror. You was honest with the man in the mirror, and you realize that you was a good person to that individual, to that other person, right? Yeah. And you now you ask yourself that question: why? What happened? So that's where that anger kind of come in, because you don't know the reason behind the whole situation of what took place.
Well, have you guys been in a situation like that, P? Have you been in a situation where the anger, I mean, like we said, anger is, you can go back and forth on how to handle something, but have you been through something like that where you feel like the anger kind of took over after the depression, or?
Yeah, it comes and goes.
Or the sadness, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know, for me though, like I was just saying before, like I sometimes like to sit in it, to process it and overcome it. Like with the music could be a good thing. Like when I was going through something, I used music, and there was this one artist that I would listen to, and a lot of the songs resonated, and it helped me get through what I was going through. Yeah. But when songs come on that say like it was a song that you and your ex or whoever used to listen to, it could bring up some unwanted emotions, but those unwanted emotions are surfacing, and you got to learn how to deal with them.
No, I agree. Jay, anger, has it taken over before, after a breakup or doing the breakup process? Do you think sometimes, have you ever used anger as an out for a breakup? Like, do you think sometimes we don't do a good enough job communicating where that anger builds up, and then we use that as like a scapegoat, I guess? I mean, you know where I'm going with it?
Yeah, sometimes we do. Sometimes we. I know for a fact. I bottle things up. We could rewind to like a couple weeks ago when I was in my mood and you guys was trying to get. You guys knew there was something wrong with me. You guys was trying to get it out of me, and I wasn't ready to express what I was going through. So, like Pat said, sometimes you gotta sit on it to dwell on it. And when I was ready to communicate it, and I came to you and P, and we talked about it. And
I think communicating with us is super important, is what you're getting at. It's kind of getting off your chest and feeling comfortable enough to talk about it, because I don't want the viewers to think it's not okay to lash out of anger if you're broken up with.
It's not.
I think we all have a tendency to hit that send button before we take a second and think about what we're sending first, because we're going off pure emotion, right, guys?
Yeah.
And I think Pat's laughing. I think you're laughing because we've all done it.
Yeah, we all.
You know what I mean? Like, thankfully now you can unsend and edit it, but I think
you can't unsend words though.
Right? No. Sometimes what's said is said. So I think it's important for everybody to know, like, you're not the only ones out there who's gone through a breakup and have sent an FU text and then instantly regretted it because you didn't
say something and instantly regret it. Like, sometimes shit could just roll off the tongue, and then after it's already out, you're like, oh fuck, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, it's because it's too late. You know what I mean? And sometimes the other half will let you take it back, and no, you said it out of anger, but taking that second and being like, am I sure this is to me no repercussions to that is important. And just don't go based off emotion, because sending an angry text after a breakup, one, it buries the relationship. If there was a chance to get it back, a good chance is you probably ruined it already if you didn't take that second and give that person space or anything like that. If you're doing the breaking up with and they're coming at you, you're going to handle it the way you want to handle it. I'm not going to micromanage someone how they're going to handle a response, but don't be the person don't instigate the anger, the frustration. You know what I mean?
Just leave it alone. Let it ride out. Don't get drunk in text.
A drunk texting is
that's not gonna help you.
Yeah.
If both parties want space, respect that. Give them the space, and then wait. If it meant to be, it will be. If not, you just gotta.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I think for us, as far as like bouncing back, it's important not to chase. Don't chase the person if they break up with you, and that's kind of their way of saying they need space, right, guys? And I think
don't ever chase.
Don't chase.
Know your value.
I mean,
know your worth. Don't chase.
Yeah, don't chase, because you come off like what's the word I'm looking for, guys? When you're chasing someone, you come off as like you need that person in your life, kind of thing. You come off needy, clingy, kind of thing. And I think sometimes that definitely pushes the person away.
Of course.
I think
we could go back to last episode, right?
Yeah.
So you chasing someone, that doesn't make you a what's the word? Value.
High value, or what society said is high value.
Yeah, whatever society seems or deemed to be. But yeah, don't chase. Do not chase. Let it go.
I mean, I think guys comes back to just taking that extra second and letting it process.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Because when you start,
the hardest things to do though is that split second before a response, to pause and compose yourself to get what you're actually going to say.
Yeah.
For me anyways, that's always been a struggle for me. Like, that's one of the hardest things to do, is take that pause, because I could be pretty reactive sometimes.
I think it's okay for you to send that one text, but we never just send that one text.
Nah, it's never one.
Text.
It's
You know what I mean?
One text.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying, though. It's not text. You can say what you want to say, but stop it at one.
You're going to send the text, and then the person doesn't reply. Then
Fuck you. Yeah, then you're sending another one, then you send another one, then you send another one.
Piece of shit, you can't fucking answer me.
Next thing you know, like knees deep, and you can't get yourself out of it.
I mean, to me, that's that thing that saying of like you're stuck in quicksand. Because
worse.
When you're sitting there and you're sending that text and you're waiting for that answer, and because a lot of girls and guys will still keep you read or unread, and you'll see it and you'll be like, I know you read it. Like, I know you read it, and the little bubbles are popping up, and you're like, just answer. And they'll suddenly disappear, and you're like, man, I know you read that, and I'm sending another one.
Even though if you are being nice to the text message, like, hey, was thinking of you.
But if it's a breakup.
Even if it's a breakup, you could be thinking.
What are you saying, though? I'm just thankful of you.
No, I'm just saying, like, hey, I was thinking of you. Hope you have a nice day.
But if they're breaking up with you, you shouldn't be sending that.
That could be seen as like an annoyance, because
you're being annoying. Yeah, that's right. P's right, because if you're sending a girl or anybody, a guy, if they break up with you, Jay.
So you trying to say I'm being annoying?
Yeah.
Well,
no, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that, because to each his own. No. I don't want to say that, because to each his own.
Everybody on this table is cool. So if
from our perspective,
viewers, you have to be honest with me.
From me and P's perspective, I think you're coming off as a little desperate. I think that's the right word, because if the person is trying to take space from you and they're leaving you or just distancing themselves from you, because we're talking about
there's two sides to every coin though, so like that could be looked at as what you're saying, or that could be looked at as showing that you care, like you're
right, but that's going to be specific to that relationship. So I don't want to say yes. Okay, I don't want to dive in there and say you're being annoying, because it's probably not the right the terminology, but I think it's specific to your relationship. If the person needs to be, maybe coddled or appreciates when you're reaching out like them, and it makes them feel special, then I think that's okay. But I think if the person is setting a line and saying, I'm done, I'm moving on, I need space, and you're reaching out to them that way, then maybe you can see that can be misconstrued and taken a different way.
I mean, I'm sure we've all been there too. There was an instance like, I don't know, you break things off with somebody and they feel some type of way, they don't want to have things broken off, and then it comes to the point where you got to block them, and then you got to block them elsewhere, then you got to block them all over the place. And then one time, I got a text from another number saying, "Can you unblock me?" And like that shit's annoying.
Don't. I mean, this frustrates me.
We all been there.
This pisses me off, because please do not make fake accounts. If you're going through a breakup, don't make a fake account. And if they block you, do not make another account and start reaching them from another number, because that's such a pain in the ass. The anxiety you get from those random numbers.
You get those Google numbers.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The fake apps and all that. Like, just accept the breakup and let it go its course. And then if you can fix it, you can fix it. If you can't, move on. Like, that's the thing. It's very, very frustrating to me, because when you're making up those fake apps and it's like, I blocked that number. 2 days later, it's another one. Can you unblock? No, I'm going to keep blocking you until you get the point that I'm done.
Listen.
You know what I mean?
I'm trying not to be mean.
I'm trying not to be mean. I'm trying not to be angry, but it's happening right now because you're making up fake numbers from Cali, and I got one from Alaska and Hawaii, and it's like, bro, you're not even in that area code. What are we doing?
We have to understand how to let things go. Let it go. If it was meant to be yours, it will always come back.
Yeah.
Learn to just let it go right out to the sunset, and if it come back, come back. If not, enjoy your life.
So
be happy with it.
He asks, how do you guys practice self-care when you're going through a breakup? I think if you're getting broken up with, that you go through stages. Your stomach's sick, you don't want to eat, your life, you're not sleeping right, your life revolves around that individual and how to get that person back.
Yeah.
But I think on the other side of it, once you can overcome that, the focus on me mentality is huge, because when you're single or you're trying to get back at that ex, you're in the gym, you're eating right, you're dieting right, your self-care is right, you're taking care of your body. So how do I practice self-care? How do you guys practice self-care? I mean, like you said, it comes down at the end of the day to focus on you. Focus on you mentality. If you're getting broken up with and you're struggling through it, we know, we've all been through it. You're gonna suffer a little bit. You are, but once again, you have to love yourself. Start taking care of yourself. Be in the gym. Right, but there is those times, like we get it, we've all been there. Like, you're gonna be nauseous and your life's gonna revolve around there, and you're not gonna want to eat, and maybe you're neglecting yourself as far as nutrition in the gym and all that, and sleep. Sleep is key, but then you're like, I don't want to sleep, and it's just like you're gonna go through it. But when you do eventually get over that, because we're talking about the bounce back from a breakup, get in the gym.
You definitely good. Yep.
Eat right.
Eat right.
Edge your beard up, right, P? Go to the barber shop. I mean, like, I could say, going through a breakup, I've been through parts where I felt really alone.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to eat, and I didn't want to drink, and I didn't want to just go through anything. I just wanted to sit there and have the world just feel bad for me. So we've all been there.
What did I tell you, like, a week ago? I told you I feel like I was getting fat, right? I'm like, I think I put a couple pounds on.
You did,
and that's part of whatever situation I was dealing with. And what I started doing, waking up at 5:15, walking on the treadmill, going to the gym, focusing on me to better myself.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I'm not doing it for nobody but me. I have to love myself again, so I could find the right person for me and be happy.
No, I think that's great, and I think let's not let's not minimalize it as far as like it has to be gym and nutrition. Pat, you do a lot of things where, as far as self-care, you do for you, whether it's walking or riding or stuff like that. Like, why don't you get into a little bit, like, what for you have you done in relationships where you're like, I need to do this for me to get right? Because people sometimes minimize. It's like, maybe the people are not in the gym, like they don't want to eat right. They don't, it doesn't. Everything has to be focused on fitness. Like, what do you do?
A lot of people will, in a relationship, will self-neglect because they're doing things for the other person.
Yeah.
So they put themselves second. When you're bouncing back from a relationship or a bad breakup or what have you, you got to do the things. You got to find the things that you love to do, because by you putting other people before you put yourself, it's just minimizing your self-worth. And you got to get out there. You have to do the things that you want to do. So like for me, yeah, working out, I love being outside. Hikes, going for walks in the woods, all that stuff. I like to hunt.
Yeah.
So I love going in the woods. It's peaceful, being in nature, all that stuff like that helps me clear my head. I go for hikes and I'm able to think and just clear my mind. So there's going to be different outlets for everybody, because everybody's into different things. So you have to find what works for you.
Yeah.
And once you find something, stick with it, because it's going to build you up. It's going to make you feel worthy.
To keeping yourself busy.
Right. Keeping yourself busy, yeah. And you're just able to think and sit back and process and work on yourself and play all the negative and positive things in your head, and you just kind of figure it out from there.
Yeah, if I could just say to Scott, I mean, you reached out to us and said, like, you keep yourself busy, you focus on yourself. This is all things that we agree with you 100%. I mean, you're talking about maintaining a perspective. Yeah, your perspective, it has to be focusing on you moving forward kind of thing. Mm-hmm. One thing I could say to you is social media can be dangerous. Stay off of it. If the person blocks you, don't find a way to add them through another name, or don't do this, don't do that. Don't be that guy or girl that's creeping as far as like going through the pictures and going through the videos, and I can't believe she or he moved on with her. They're out on a Friday night and I'm home sulking. That. Like, don't do that. You only gonna hurt yourself, and you're gonna go right back to that depression mode. So I've been there. Don't do that. Just learn to let it go. Learn to accept it. Like, the person's out your life. Yeah. They're out your life. Like I said earlier, if it's meant to be, it will be. Learn to be okay with the whole situation. Go ahead, P.
It's definitely easier said than done, but you really got to work towards it and just get it done for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think ultimately everybody's going to handle it the way they handle it. We've handled it our way, but I think our biggest thing is just focus on you, not to dwell on it. Know that life goes on, right, guys? There's going to be another relationship. There's going to be another person you're going to meet. When you feel okay with yourself, when I felt okay with myself, I should say, and thanks to my friends, family, and everything we're saying, focus on me, that's when I felt it was okay to get back out there. Nobody can put a timetable on it, right, guys? You can't put a timetable. Whenever you feel like you're personally ready.
If you're ever ready.
Yeah, if you're ever ready. I mean, some people may not want to go back out there and date, and that's okay because something was so traumatic in their life. But those of you who feel okay, get yourself back out there. Whether it's going to a bar or going to dinner, Sunday brunch, whatever it is. But I can say for me, I learned to get out there by myself, and I would go to lunch, or I would grab breakfast, or I would go to dinner, even with myself. And the interaction I had with, whether it was the host or waitresses like that, and our bartenders, was very different because they're questioned as to why I was by myself, and it was kind of like a conversation starter. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what are you doing on a Friday night by yourself? And it really helped me saying, okay, I'm okay to go to this place, meeting new people and leaving, and I'm okay. Mm-hmm. I'm okay being alone.
And that's you loving yourself.
Yeah, I mean, so I think I don't know if you guys have anything else more you want to add to as far as like what you did, as far as getting right again. But for me, my biggest thing was getting out there and being okay by myself. Once I felt okay with talking to people by myself, I said, you know what? This is great and all. Now I want to meet someone. And then from there, I was able to take those steps forward and meeting the next person. But like you said, you may never be ready, and if you're not ready, that's okay too.
Like you said, there's no time limit. Just take your time. Learn to love yourself. That's very important. Love yourself. And if you do meet someone, learn to actually get to know that person.
Right.
Go on dates, enjoy each other's time, enjoy each other's company. Like, get to really know that person before you jump into a situation. And at the same time, if you're getting to know that person, still love yourself.
Life isn't over because of a breakup. Life goes on. You can still be happy with someone else, or you can still be happy by yourself, right, P? You can be happy by yourself. And just remember that, guys. Life is not over. Move on, move forward, take your time, take as long as you need, but it'll eventually get better with time. Time heals everything. So,
and sometimes the next best thing, just jump on your lap. We never know.
Sometimes it's when you're not looking.
Exactly.
Someone falls into your life. It's always when you least expect it. Someone falls into your lap, I guess. What was you going to say? I would say it's when you least expect it. You meet someone in your life that could blow you away, but hey.
No singles involved.
Jay says they jump on your lap. So yeah, I mean, that could technically have that happen. So we'll go to the next topic. Let's see what we got here. This is from Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Appreciate you reaching out. How do you resolve family conflicts? What have you gone through in your life as far as family conflicts, and how did you resolve it? Recently, I'm struggling with some stuff inside with my friends, with my family, and I'm struggling to kind of talk to them and get over the obstacles. How do you deal with that?
Family. Just be real. You gotta. You have to express what you're feeling, because family comes first.
One thing you gotta say, doesn't matter what you do, family is always gonna love you. They wanna love you and respect you. So, like Pat said, you have to be real. You have to be real and be honest. And try to explain the situation the best that you can.
For me, anyways, it's my family's one of my biggest support systems. So when I'm going through things and I'm confiding in a family member about it, I keep it real with them. Or if they're bothering me, something about them is bothering me, I keep it real and I put it out on the table, because if you don't, now sometimes nobody knows that there's, say, animosity in the air or whatever there is, and it just turns into an awkward situation. When you voice how you're feeling and bring it to the table and actually work on it and try to resolve it, it's better in the long run for everybody.
Yeah. Jay, you want to piggyback off that? I mean, I think ultimately you have to understand that, she writes, is it okay to accept what you can and cannot control?
Yes.
You have to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's huge. And just so you guys know, I really appreciate you guys actually putting a list of things that are relative to the topic, so it kind of helps us out a little bit. So your number one thing was accept what you can and cannot control. And I think that is okay. I mean, you have to, right? That's what you're saying. You have to be able to accept it, especially with your family. I mean, everybody goes through the ups and downs, whether it's immediate family or not, but you have to accept sometimes that's just the way your family member is. I think you know that, right? I mean, what you can and cannot control, you can only control yourself and what you're doing, your actions. Everything outside of that, guys, you either go along for the ride or you put your input, but your input may not be warranted, so you got to tread lightly on it, right?
Time. Give everything time. It will fix itself.
She brings up anger again, and you gotta let that go, especially with immediate family, right?
Family, you can't speak out of anger or act out of anger, especially with family, because there's tough. Thanksgiving, there's holidays. You don't want to be the joke of the holidays, so.
I mean, I think taking that. Try not to be angry, because that's your family, and if there's someone that's that significant in your life, you got to take and understand the entire perspective on things, right? Yeah. Maybe hear them out. I mean, everything's going to be relative to that individualized topic, but if that's your family, go in with open ears and listen to what they're saying. Have you guys gone through something with your family and all that? Like, I've gone through some shit with my family where, they ended up on the other side of things, and I ultimately had to cut them out because their path was going down a different path, and that was really hard for me.
We all have.
I think we've all gone through it, as far as, like, you want to be there for your family. You do, and I support everybody who's there for their family, but sometimes you're going left and they're going right, and you ultimately got to make a decision, right? When that fork comes in the road.
Situation.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you got to.
It's not looking good for you. you gotta take yourself out of that situation.
I think Jay, Pete, we can definitely relate as far as like a European background on it, because family is supposed to be everything. Jay, you too. I'm not just simplifying it to.
I'm not hurt.
You know, to the European background, but for us, I think the immediate family is everything. Growing up, right?
Yeah, it's so growing up, my experiences are like my cousins were my best friends growing up. Like,
yeah.
I'm really tight with my family. If there's ever any issues, we're always open about it. Like I can't really speak to having family issues or cutting family out, because my family's always been real tight, and if we argue, if we have disagreements, it always works itself out almost immediately.
Mm-hmm. I agree, because that's what you need. Like for me, my parents would say to me, family is everything. You only have one mother, you only have one father, you only have one sibling or two siblings, three siblings. You only have your siblings with you. That's your family who's going to be there through thick and thin. And I think growing up, you're like, yeah, it's whatever. Like I got this, I got that. But more and more now, as we're getting older, I feel like it's so important to recognize that relationship that you have with them, you know what I mean? And she talks about understanding how it affects the whole family, and that's big, because something small can affect everybody, because no one wants to take sides in a family. Mm-hmm. You know,
it's hard. You can't take side, bro.
And you know, I think ultimately, like, I think people individualize it. They don't understand the repercussions to what their actions are sometimes, and they don't realize how big and how much of an effect it's going to have on your family. So I think as though, in order to like resolve family conflicts, it's talk it out, I guess, is the biggest thing. Like we've all gone through shit, so I mean, it's going to be, I don't think we can simplify it, individualize it, like, hey, this is how you can handle this and that, right?
Biggie said it best.
What?
Keep your family and business completely separated.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You know, I think that's tough.
I think it's just you have to talk it out. It's a conversation that whatever conflict you guys are dealing with, you need to bring it to the table and talk it out. Just like that Thanksgiving table, you guys say a prayer and saying what you're grateful for. You have to be able to be like, hey, you did this, that bugged me, and it had to affect me. And maybe the person didn't even see that did that action. It might be like, you know what, my apologies. It could be a simple misunderstanding. So talk it out with your family members, because family is all you have.
I think, to piggyback off you, I love that. Family is all you have. Reach out to that family member instead of withdrawing. Mm-hmm. I think a tendency in like relationships, you get into an argument, someone pulls back, kind of needs time to themselves. In family, I don't know if you can do that. I think you can do that in some cases, but I think it's important to go ahead and reach out to that family member and say, hey, are you going through something I can help you out with?
You could withdraw a little bit from, just so you to get your thought process right.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. I agree with that.
Reach out and be like, hey, listen, I still love you, but what the hell?
At the end of the day, I think realizing some things just aren't worth fighting over. I had a younger sibling growing up.
Family.
And no, not with family. I had a younger sibling growing up, and we would bicker a lot back and forth. You know what I mean? Just the age gap, age difference, whatever it is. But I noticed as we started getting older, those things we were bickering over didn't really matter anymore. And that's my rock now. Okay, like my sibling is my rock, and
love that for you, kid.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? I don't have enough good things to say about that individual, because she is who helped me through so many times, so many obstacles that I've been through. I wouldn't be who I am today without that sibling, and you know, shout out to her because of it. But whatever we have, or we going forward, if we do bicker, like, I want to do everything I can to sort it out. And I think as we're getting older, we realize how important those relationships are. So to me, if you're asking me how do I resolve my family conflict, for me personally, it's just talking about it. That's the biggest thing. That's for me. I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, how do I resolve it? Take everything aside of it. You mean that much to me, I'm going to talk about it.
You have to talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, then assumptions are made. The truth isn't out on the table, and everybody's wondering what's going on and how someone's feeling. But if you put your emotions out there and you talk about it, you're going to know exactly how that individual is feeling, and you're going to be able to work on it a lot better.
How about a family member who doesn't agree with the relationship that you choose? How do you get through that? I think that's big, because in our society, our background, if the mother doesn't like who you're dating, you're it's not happening.
It's a wrap.
For lack of a better word, it's a wrap. So how do you manage that family? I don't. That's a conflict, right? A conflict because
that's hard. If mommy don't give the okay,
then mommy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, have you guys gone through? I've gone through it. I've gone through it where I've been in a relationship. I've gone through it. P. Have you gone through it? I mean, come on. We all have something where okay, here's the thing. Your parents are never going to think no matter who you date, they're not going to be good enough. Understand that no matter what. I want to talk about later in the episodes down the road, like how you deal with that and all that. But for me, how do you deal with that conflict? We talked about not going home and talking only negative. Talk positive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Talk positive about that person. Paint that bright picture. It reduces the chances of conflict.
The good and bad.
Yeah.
Don't just go to your parents with the negative. Give them the good and bad, because as soon as you start giving the negative, you know what they're gonna say? I know I ain't like that.
You're right.
I know I ain't like her.
You're right.
So just give her the good and bad.
I mean,
let her make her own decision. Don't paint the picture for her.
Yeah, I mean, I think our bottom line here is from our perspective. Talk it out. It's okay. Is it okay to cut some family members out? I think we touched about it a little bit. Like, yeah, it's okay. Everybody's gonna go on a different path.
If it's going on a path that you don't see yourself going down, you have to be the bigger person.
Make the move.
Because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, you have to live for you. So if you're going right and you're on the road to success and the person is going left, you can't take a detour from what you have.
I agree with you. They're not allowing that person to bring you down with you. You do what you can to help them through their trial and tribulation, but ultimately you're going to focus on yourself. And if they're going to bring you down, move forward, strive, do what you can. But if ultimately they're going to make their own decisions, understand that they're their own individuals. They're going to make their decisions. You give the input.
It's okay to love that person from a distance, but you have to focus on you.
Mm-hmm. P, anything else you want to add to that? Because I think that's pretty good as far as resolving conflicts.
Yeah. There's always going to be conflict. You just have to learn how to handle it and deal with it.
Yeah.
And go about it the best way you could.
For sure.
So, you ever dealt with a situation where you had to sit down, you talk with that person, and at the end of it, both of you guys end up crying because you guys realized that whatever you guys was arguing about or what you guys wasn't seeing eye to eye about was a misunderstanding?
With family?
Yeah.
Personally, no.
I have.
You want to talk about it?
I don't cry.
Okay.
I can't say we both cried. I think one of us cried over it. But you talk about reaching an emotional level where you both were like, yeah, I made a mistake. Yes. Yes, for sure.
It was with my younger brother. And for 2 weeks, we didn't talk. And then he was playing 2K, and I went downstairs. I'm like, yo.
NBA?
Yeah. I'm like, yo, enough is enough, bro. What the hell is going on? And we pretty much laid everything on the table. And then, we hugged it out after.
I mean, I had a similar situation where I went almost 6 months talking to somebody significant in my family. And I think it came to that part or that point where you're like, yeah, let's talk it out. You know what I mean? Because we weren't getting anywhere by taking that space. You know what I mean? My life was just passing by, and things were happening in my life, and they weren't a part of it, and that hurt me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think, you're right.
Back.
No, you can't, and you regret it afterward. Like, damn, I really held on to this because of that. Like, you got to be able to move on. But I also have had situations where with my family, like I talked about earlier, I've had to cut that person out, and I don't regret cutting that person out because of it. And I just had to go a different route, like we talked about. Mm-hmm. So, the answer is yes. But again, communication was key because, like you guys are saying, time was passing and they weren't a part of it. And ultimately, I'm hurting myself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And plus, you're not creating that family memory of whatever situation I was on in your life that was great for you. Now, that person wasn't part of it because of a stupid misunderstanding.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk it out. Let's hit another topic here. Where we at? Right. This is okay.
Who's this on the phone?
This is from Jen on Instagram. Professional failures. How'd you guys deal with it? Well, I'm gonna take what you said first and say the way I dealt with it was I told myself it's not the end of the world. As much as I felt like everything was crashing down, and it was, in that moment, I eventually knew it would get better. And I think you hit a home run with that. You hit it right in the head. I mean, the world, when you're going through a professional failure, everything feels like it's crashing, and you never think in that moment it's going to get better. It takes time to get better. And okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we dealt with it. Who wants to start us off?
Well, I'm just going to piggyback on our last podcast with dealing with failures and stuff like that. If you fail at something, there's always going to be another opportunity to come back from that failure.
Amen.
So you need to take that failure, and like I said last time, use it as ammunition. Use it as, I don't know, you got to fail to succeed. So take that and let it burn up. Use it as gasoline, fuel, to get done what you got to get done and figure it out.
All right, let's talk about jobs. Have we all been in a situation where you thought you were getting this job and it didn't go the other way?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll start it. I'll start it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm applying for a job. I think it's my career, out of school. This is it. This is it for me. This is what I'm going to be. This is what I studied for. Put in for it. About to start it. Didn't get it. And I thought my life was
over.
And I'm young. I'm in my early 20s, and I'm thinking, this is it. 4 years of schooling for what?
That shit sucks.
And I think being younger, I was like, where do I go? What do I do? Like, okay, I went to family helped me, but I was like, now what? I didn't think for a second, I didn't think it was going to get better. No, I didn't think that. I'm being honest with you guys. When you're talking about that point where you had to shed a tear, that was me, because I didn't know what was up and what was down. I didn't know where the hell to go. I didn't know what direction. I didn't even know if I could even continue in that field because of that rejection.
It sucks because you did everything that you're supposed to be doing. You went to school.
Yep.
You got yourself in the right shape or whatever you had to do to get that position.
Yeah.
And due to politics, someone slammed the door in your face.
And if you're asking me how I bounced back from it,
it's hard.
If you wanted to say, D, what was one thing you did? I could not give you an answer. I would say the only answer I can give you is time. Eventually made it better, and I kept applying to this and that, and my career ended up going in a different path where I never thought it would. It was something, a last ditch effort, so to speak, where I was like, I'm going to try it, and it ended up working out for me. But in that moment, I don't know. I mean, failures of jobs and all that, it takes such a toll, even when it comes to promotions and whatnot. I think you always, in a job, you always want to move up, right? Oh. And I think you always apply and say, okay, I'm going to get this promotion. Have you gotten in a situation where you thought you can get a promotion and it didn't go your way?
Yeah.
So how the hell did you deal with it? Because sometimes they don't know what to do, and they go, F this job, I'm going to go a different route. And people are looking at you and be like, I knew it, Jay, you were going to react a little differently. And it's crazy to me that people judge you off that.
The way I dealt with the situation I was on, I just, it was eating me from the inside, but I never let anybody see it. I just went to work every day, give it the same effort that I did when I wanted that position or that promotion, and I just keep trucking, man. I just keep working, grinding.
But in the moment, you automatically said, hey, it didn't work out, I'm going to go. I'm going to grind. Because we talked about in the other podcast, we're working harder, grinding, that mindset. Of course.
That was my mindset. I'm like, okay, so if you pass it on me now I'm going to give you a reason to show you why you made that mistake.
I love that. I think that's great.
That's what I was doing. I was like showing up to work every day, grinding, working. Something needed to be done. I was that guy. So I wanted the whole the people that had the power to promote me to see wow, I made a mistake, because this kid's a worker, this kid's a grinder, he's a go-to, and that's what I was doing. And some people probably didn't see that, and it is what it is, because right now I'm in a position where I'm happy.
Oh, it's also Jay. I mean JP.
The brown word getting you.
It's getting me right.
I mean, from experience, something that happened to me was I wholeheartedly believed that I was going to get this certain position.
Yeah.
And then I kind of fucked up in the interview. And it was me in my own head, because I'd messed up in the interview. I was just in my head telling myself that I screwed up, it's it, I'm not going to get it, this, that, blah, blah, blah. So I was stressing hard in the moment until I got that call saying I did get it. So that whole mind game I played with myself was for nothing. All that stress, all that sadness, whatever it was for nothing. I worked myself up for nothing.
Right.
But yeah, it's just, you never know what's gonna happen. You just gotta always stay positive, and if you don't get something, yeah, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna suck at first, but everything always works itself out, and what's meant to be will be. So just keep doing the right thing, working as hard as you can, and going after what you want, and eventually it'll pay off.
I think that's great. I think that's also
grinding.
Keep grinding. Yeah, and that goes back to the other episode, guys. We talk about grinding, how the society has kind of gone away from that. But I also want to point out that if you go to that interview, if you make it so far, everything, it's out of your control after that. You do what you can, you put in the effort, you do it, and then it's going to be up to, I don't want to say God's grace, but it's up to the other individual. There's nothing else you can do from there once you go. Like, you've done all you can, right?
One thing you guys got to understand is this. If you make it to the interview process, that's a win. You guys don't know how many people put in for that position, and you was able to sit there and interview for the position. You have to look at that as a win.
Yeah.
Like, let's say 100 people apply for it. They only pick 15. Bro, 15 out of 100, and you got picked, that's a win. So use that interview to better yourself. In any interviews that you go to, anything that you go to, if you get picked, use that to better yourself and keep grinding, keep trucking. And if, it's going to happen for you.
And if you do not get that job or that promotion,
it's not the end of the world.
It's not a failure. The grass could be greener on the other side. It just might not be for you at that point in time. Like, your career could go differently, or another job can come up, another promotion opportunity. It can go different. It could be a blessing in disguise. You always have to think about it. Not what if or why didn't I get it, but like, what can I do going forward now to make things right for myself?
I better myself.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, look at it.
She says, schedule a debrief with myself. That's something different. I never thought about kind of sitting there and being like, debriefing myself, kind of like, what could I do? Where am I going forward with it? I think that's really cool. To the viewers out there, maybe take a second and just kind of make a list as of where you're going to go from here. After you went through that professional failure, having a plan for yourself I think that's awesome. I think that's good. I think it's something I've never thought about, of what am I going to do from here now, because I automatically thought my life was over. So thinking, okay, what's my next step? I think that's great. Do any guys want to say anything to add to that, or I think that's awesome.
I have nothing to add.
There's always steps that you're going to be able to take to move yourself in the right direction.
I like what she says as far as sharing my feelings with others. Sharing my failure with others. Because we talked about communication earlier, and that fear factor and the fear of failing, right? In the other episode. So
yes, but you have to be very careful with that. If you didn't get the promotion or you didn't get that position, don't be upset about it, because you really don't know who's in your corner.
Oh, I think that's where you find out who's your friends and enemies.
You really don't know who's in your corner, so be
careful,
very mindful, and careful of what you share with the person and how you act around.
Because you never know, that person that you thought was your friend could be the one that stabs you in the back. And actually, or could be
happens all the time,
or could be happy that you didn't get that promotion, because now it's their chance to
level up.
Yeah. So be careful. I agree with sharing your failure to closest friends who you trust, and family, because family's always going to have your back, and they're always going to kind of remember, the family is biased though. Some, not all, but some. I say, oh, you're too good for that, but just know, be open to that constructive criticism, as you could have done this better, you could have done that better, but. Sharing your feelings with people, your failure, that's good. Just be mindful.
And one thing too, if you don't get that promotion or that position, don't be walking around the office being a sourpuss.
Don't sulk. Don't sulk because people are watching you. Ain't that the truth? People are watching you.
Hold your head up.
Yeah, be strong with it.
And give them a reason to realize they made a mistake.
I like this one. How do I regain my mojo? That's the word she used. Mojo. Oh, how do I regain my mojo? Just
get after it.
I love it. I don't want to say get after it. Go grind. Yeah, get after it. Get grind. This is how you get your mojo back. You grind to get it back.
Yeah.
Your mojo is going to be your mojo. And
nobody could take that away from you.
No, you don't lose it because you didn't get a job.
Yeah.
Let's go be real. You didn't lose anything. You're not any less of a person because you didn't get the job. F it, move forward, and keep grinding. Work hard. Work harder and smarter.
Yep. Tap into your inner self and grind.
And then
grind like there's no tomorrow.
Grind. Yeah, right. I agree with you. And she says, I look forward to my next career move. Yeah,
we all do.
We always have to.
Well, I think that goes back, Gento, around scheduling a debrief with yourself, because I think in that debrief you're gonna have to look forward as far as like what's your next career move. So, just be ready and have that plan ready to go for what's next. What's next? Even when you do put in for that or you go to that interview, always have a backup plan or where you're gonna go from there. I think that's important to know going forward, right, guys?
Backup plan.
Have a backup plan in case A and B fail. There's always a C.
Yep, you have to.
Good with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
All right.
Move on.
What do we got? Okay, we got the last one here. Let's talk about it. How can you give me some ways? Okay, Ryan, shout out to you through TikTok. Can you give me some ways to overcome my trials and tribulations? You give us a couple of things. What are some ways I can reflect? Some people do reflection through
religion.
They pray. I mean, if that's for you, you can talk about praying and using God. Reflecting is probably more of based upon the individual, guys, right? Everybody's going to go through their own ways of reflecting. I think self-reflection is what we're talking about. Anytime you go through something tough, taking that step back and not placing blame and thinking about it individually, that's my word?
That's the word.
is important because you can only control your actions. So the way to overcome things is kind of taking that second to yourself and what's the word? Where am I going with it, guys?
Just reflect on what you could have done better to put yourself out there. Reflect on what others think about you. Reflect on how could you be that guy. And for me, like, I believe in the higher power, and if I have anything on my mind, I'll take it to my belief and just.
So I think what Jay's getting at is, if church is your thing, as far as overcoming that trial and tribulation, I talked about that in the other episode, right, guys? Prayer, if that's for you, and talking to God or talking about whoever your higher power is, so be it. If that's what helps you get through, go get it. I like what you say here. How do I trust the process? Trusting the process, I mean, everything takes time.
Trusting the process starts with you. You have to trust yourself and believe in yourself. That's the process.
Process it.
Yeah, you just take as much time as you need.
Yeah.
And process all your thoughts. Make sure you get everything. If you write things down to process them, write it down. If you sit there, listen to music. Do whatever you got to do to process it your way, because your way is going to differ from everybody else's. But it's very important to process things, emotions, thoughts, all that stuff, to be able to come out of it with a clear picture in your head.
Yeah, for sure. And I think going back to the previous episode, therapy is something we went pretty in depth before the other episode, but to overcome your trials and tribulations, go see a therapist, talk to someone outside of your family, have an unbiased opinion and where you went right, where you went wrong, especially with relationships, because there's always ways to grow when you're going through that anger mindset, that frustration, all that, and you're just individualizing one person. If you go to an unbiased opinion, they're going to let you know where you faulted, where you went right, where you went wrong, but they're going to keep it real. You know what I mean? And I think that therapists will help you professionally as well, because they will give you an entire outlook of like where you can go, what you should do, how do you bounce back, kind of thing. I think therapy is cool, and I think
they'll help you paint a bigger picture.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
And during the session, sometimes you'll click. You'll realize it just yourself before they even tell you. So by just sitting there talking to someone, that's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of strength and growth, where you'll be the better person for you. So if you have to go to a therapist,
so be
talk to them.
So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I've never thought about this. He says, would you ever start a journal and document the trials and tribulations where you're going through?
Yeah, I mean, journaling it could be very good, because if you have thoughts and you keep them inside your head, they go away. Sometimes you don't remember them, and sometimes it's hard to bring that back or remember what you thought. It could be a good idea on how to handle something, but if you write it down, you can always go back and reference to it and keep it fresh in your mind and build off of it. And journaling I think is great.
Have you done it?
I have. I'm not faithful with it, but yeah.
What did it do for you though when you were? I've never journaled. I've never documented it. So I'd like to get your perspective on where it helped you. Even if you didn't follow through with it, it's cool because I've never done it. So how did it make you feel?
It's good because you can kind of keep your thoughts organized.
Yeah.
You write your thoughts down, and you don't have to remember them, because I know me, like I'll forget that shit quick.
Yeah.
So I need to write something down if there's something real important. Even if it's a reminder to do something, like constantly on my phone, putting reminders.
Yeah.
I got a little board in my kitchen. If there's something important, I'll write it down on there. And it's important to, I mean, it's not important, but if it's something that you like, the journaling, I think it's great because you'll always be able to go back, and now you have a hard copy of your thoughts, and you can reflect and build off of what you wrote down.
Jay, have you journaled before?
No, I haven't.
You think it would be positive for you to document things? Like, I think it is.
Hearing what P is saying, I think that's something I should start doing, just to get my thoughts out there. Because sometimes you be like, my head be like,
because you can't fix things immediately. So if you're thinking about something that you want to fix, say it's the way you go about something or something like that, you're not going to be able to fix it immediately, and you're going to need to gather thoughts, and it could sometimes take time. So in the moment when you're thinking about something like that, say it's right before you go to bed in the morning, you completely forget about what you were thinking about.
Right.
But if you write it down and you know it's something important that you need to work on or fix or something like that, you'll be able to reference back to it and continue to work on it.
So it's like the blueprint.
That's it.
No, I think
I'm gonna start that shit.
I think journaling is pretty awesome, to be honest with you. I've never thought about writing stuff down. Like,
it just takes it's just a little bit of extra effort.
Yeah.
That's it. It's
it's like a reminder.
That's it.
You're reminding yourself like the purpose, the goal, and to better yourself.
And what's different types of journaling too, because I actually researched this a little bit in the past, because it was something that I wanted to implement. It was something that I wanted to start doing.
Yep.
And there's different journals that you can buy. There's different formats that you can set them up to make it easiest for you to remember.
That's awesome.
Easier for you to keep organized or anything like that. So I think it's great. It does take, what's the word I'm looking for?
Pressure?
No.
Not time.
Not time. It just
clear mindset. Like,
I don't know what the fuck word I'm looking for. Discipline. It takes discipline to be able to keep up with it.
Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah.
And follow through with it and just keep up with it, because like anything, I'm not saying it's something small, but something small could slip your mind. You forget doing it, then you get into a habit of not doing it, and then it just slowly fades away.
I think that's great. I think that's good. I think that's awesome. I think for what he's saying, that's a perfect thing. We can take that. Me and Jay can take that. Journaling is something maybe we can dabble in going forward, because P's talking it up.
I'm definitely going to
rapid fire real quick, boys. Trials, tribulations. What's one thing you do?
What do you mean?
When you go through it.
When I go through it?
How do you get through it? Like, to wrap it up kind of thing, like, what's one thing you do for the viewers out there? What can you say to them? Like, what has helped you go through the thick?
confide in people that I trust, that I know that are going to be there for my best interest, because I sometimes feel like sometimes I'm not maybe making the best decisions or going about it the right way. And if I bounce that off of people I love that I know that are there for me, they could kind of redirect my thoughts and maybe go about it a different and a better way.
Jay?
For me, probably be taking care of myself, man. Going to the barbershop.
Self-care? For you?
Yeah. Going to the barbershop, getting a facial, like doing things that
for you, doing things for you that make you feel better.
Yeah, just to pick myself up
when you're going through the fix, so to speak.
Yeah. You see my haircut?
A nice fresh lineup you got there, bud. You look good.
I look damn good. And Baldini over there.
For me, friends and family are everything. I was going through some stuff last week. You both were there for me. I appreciate you both. P, you were there for me on a different level. I didn't know I had some mechanical issues. And P came over and really helped me out. We ultimately didn't solve the problem, but the fact that he took the time out of his day to really come to my aid, so to speak, because I couldn't figure it out, meant the world to me, because I didn't know where else to turn, and I had someone there for me in my corner.
Things you could depend on. Friends.
Yeah, friends and family are everything. So shout out to P, both you guys, but P specifically in that thing where I needed you, bro, and you were there and you put down everything and you're like, I'm gonna be there for my boy. And I hope you know that me and Jay are there for you the same exact way you were there for us. You know what I mean? I think Jay, the same thing. We're there for you, and I think to wrap it up, like,
I know that
we all have that same understanding.
Yeah,
it's like I think that's why we mesh so good and we're able to do all this
for sure
without any issues, because we understand each other, I guess.
Yeah, so we're gonna quote it kind of thing. Quote it. We're gonna quote it. That's the way we end our pods. It's kind of our thing where we take that quote that we all go through and we fall in love with, and we think it's something everybody could take going forward. So this one, guys,
definitely
is by Nelson Mandela.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So shout out to Nelson. It says, "Do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again." So one more time, guys. Do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. That's by Nelson Mandela. So let's talk about it before we wrap it up.
It's deep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, don't judge me. I always say that. Don't judge me because I have this, and that. But judge me by the trials and tribulations that I went through to make me who I am.
Everybody does that.
Because it's face value, right? Exactly. People take you for face value because a lot of times they don't want to get to know you, or they say, oh, he or she has a nice car, he or she has a nice house, or they have good hair, or they have nice clothes. No. I had to go through the shit, the thick, to get to who I am today. So judge me by what I did before that, before I got to the top of that mountain, because the climb was a bitch.
Not sleeping properly, not eating properly, working all those doubles to get the stuff that you have. They didn't see that.
Working long hours. Long hours for sure. You know, it's like, so I love that because I think it's good to point out, like, don't judge me when I'm on top. Don't judge me. Be with me along that ride to get to who I am, to get to the top kind of thing. You know what I mean?
But at the same time, let them. Because the people that know who you are going to judge you for the right things.
Of course. But that get up again and fell off, get back up, that's cute. That's huge. You know what I mean?
Pick yourself up and keep trying.
For sure. You guys have anything else you want to add to that? Because I think that's the perfect way to end it as far as like...
No, I think we're good. I don't got anything.
Jay, anything else you want to add?
After that quote, I'm good.
That wraps it up. So one more time, guys, before we wrap it up, take it home with you, digest it, let it marinate. Do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. Because when you fall down, ultimately getting back up is who's gonna ultimately that's what makes you that individual who you are. So this completes episode 3 of the DJ&P podcast. Please follow us on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We're now on Spotify too, right, Jay?
Yes, we are.
We're on Spotify. For YouTube, we would appreciate if you click the subscribe button and turn notifications on, because it really helps out the channel. Going forward, we plan on dropping one video every single week. Episode 4 is in the works still, so stay tuned. I am D. This is
J.
And I'm P.
And that's P. And we thank you all for tuning in. So please click subscribe, turn notifications on. And Jay, you can end it up with
Let's still stop.
One last time to episode 3, and episode 4 is on the way.